Welcome to Auto Mundial, your weekly home of all the latest car news and reviews. This week we get behind the wheel of the hotly anticipated Kia EV9. Can this luxury electric 7-seater really tempt buyers away from Land Rover?
We're also looking at the latest Toyota Land Cruiser and Audi's new Dakar-inspired off-roader.
Plus, Porsche's barnstorming Spyder RS. Is it the ultimate sports car? Find out later on. Up first, the news. Land Rover has opened the waiting list for the new electric Range Rover, following a series of teaser images released in December. An electric version of the flagship Range Rover is yet to be revealed in full, but buyers can now join a waiting list before the order books officially open later in the year. The new EV will feature an 800-volt architecture, allowing for ultra-fast charging. The electric Range Rover is currently undergoing on- and off-road testing in the UK, Sweden and Dubai. Of course, this being a Land Rover product, its off-road ability is said to be the same as the ICE version, with an 85cm wading depth and a variety of driving modes to suit different terrains. Also in the news, luxury car maker Rolls-Royce has published its sales figures for 2023. Despite the cost of living crisis and international unrest, the British marque achieved its highest ever sales results, with 6,032 new cars sold. That might not sound like a lot, but bear in mind the cheapest car they sell starts at a little under £300,000, and that number becomes rather more impressive. The USA was the Goodwood-based brand's biggest market, followed by China, but growth was reported through Asia, the Middle East and Europe. The best seller was the Cullinan SUV, or high-sided vehicle as Rolls-Royce likes to call it. Next up was the entry-level Ghost. 2023 saw the end of production for both the Wraith Coupe and the Dawn convertible, as the big V12s are slowly being phased out in favour of electric power. The new EV Spectre went on sale towards the end of the year, ahead of the marque's plans to become electric only by 2030. While most of us can only dream about ever owning a new Rolls-Royce, research by the London School of Economics suggests we all benefit slightly, with the brand contributing more than £4 billion to the UK economy since 2003.
With the incredible success of its electric rally races at the Dakar Rally, Audi has decided to put some of its newfound off-road EV expertise into a customer car, specifically the Q8 e-TRON. The brand's first production EV, the Q8, has been with us now since 2019, and until now its off-road credentials amounted to little more than climbing over curbs and splashing through roadside puddles. Now though, Audi has given it a thorough makeover to create this, the Q8 e-TRON Edition Dakar. It's based on the 55 Quattro model, retaining the same 394 bhp dual motor setup with a 106 kilowatt-hour battery. Audi hasn't released an official range yet, but we'd imagine the off-road add-ons have detracted from the standard car's 330-mile figure. So, apart from reducing range, what are these accessories for? Well, the first and most noticeable is the roof rack. What overlander is complete without some extra storage up top? In this case, it carries a spare wheel with some space for extra baggage for those expeditions. And then there's the knobbly all-terrain tyres, complete with white lettering for a retro flavour. The bespoke 18-inch wheels are much smaller than the standard cars, but much less likely to be scraped on rocky trails. They should add ride quality too, although buyers can opt for larger, road-focused alternatives. The wheels have been poked out further into the arches, adding to the car's intimidating high stance. The air suspension has been recalibrated and sits 65mm higher in its default setting. Fiddle with the drive modes and the car can be raised a further 30mm to help you get over any particularly tricky surfaces. And of course, no off-road special edition would be complete without an outdoorsy paint job. On the Dakar, it's optional, and only 99 cars will be fitted with the exclusive wrap. The matte and gloss black graphics look fantastic, especially as the interior gets a similar makeover with black leather, red stitching and hard-wearing rubber floor mats. The graphics on the infotainment system have been updated as well with a more adventurous feel. Sadly for British buyers, Audi doesn't plan to build any right-hand drive cars, which seems like a missed opportunity. After all, you only have to take one look at a central London street scene and you'll spot more than a handful of unnecessary luxury 4x4s that have never seen a speck of mud. On the continent though, the edition Dakar will be priced from around €120,000 with order books open now.
Over the past 7 decades, the Toyota Land Cruiser has garnered an almost mythical status as the toughest, most reliable car money can buy. From outback farmers and UN peacekeepers to caravanners and school-run mums, it seems there's nothing the Land Cruiser can't do. Part of the reason for that is there's more than one Land Cruiser. There's a posh Lexus-based one for the Middle East and China, a rugged, no-nonsense one for the Southern Hemisphere, and now for the rest of the world, a new one. Unlike previous models where styling has always taken a back seat, the new LC gets a thoroughly retro vibe with chunky, square proportions, throwback Toyota script in the grille, and numerous pastel paint shades. There's even a limited production first edition from launch, which gains circular headlights, giving it a Land Rover Defender look. Ah yes, the Land Rover. Toyota made no secret back in the 50s and 60s that the Land Cruiser took more inspiration from the British 4x4 than just its name, but these days the styling is the nearest similarity. Unlike the upmarket Land Rover, Toyota has kept the LC a bit more old school with a traditional ladder frame chassis. Toyota says that this separate chassis that the body and drivetrain are bolted onto will significantly improve the car's off-road ability. For even more flex to keep all 4 wheels on the ground, the front anti-roll bar can be disconnected, while the suspension has been stiffened to improve its on-road driving manners. From launch, the sole engine option will be a 2.8-litre diesel with 201 brake horsepower and an 8-speed auto. In 2025, that'll be joined by the first electrified Land Cruiser, a 48-volt mild hybrid, but no word on any plug-ins or EVs. The cabin is pleasingly traditional too, with lots of leather and chunky buttons and switches. The old Land Cruiser really struggled against the fabulous Land Rover interiors, but with a big modern screen and a choice of 5 or 7 seats, it seems Toyota is slowly starting to catch up.
However, if the new Land Cruiser wants to be the best 4x4 by far, it'll need to beat this, the Land Rover Defender. It's no secret that the Land Rover inspired the Land Cruiser name in the 1950s, and they've been fighting for the top 4x4 honours ever since. But the latest Defender has come a long way from its ancestors. Unlike the old models and the Toyota, the Defender is a unibody, meaning there's no heavy separate chassis. That means it's much better to drive on road than the old car and way more comfortable. The old car's interior was, in a word, agricultural, with hard plastic surfaces, hosed-down vinyl seats, and driving it with the windows up meant you had nowhere to put your arms. Now, though, the Defender is a truly luxurious way to travel. In fact, just about every creature comfort you can find on a Discovery is here, with even a few Range Rover bits thrown in. The character of the old car is well and truly gone, but the Land Rover has lost none of its main selling point, its off-road ability. A product of the 2020s, the Defender has all sorts of electronic driving aids to maximise traction on any terrain. Thankfully though, there are still some big heavy bits of metal underneath, working just as they always have done. A low-range gearbox and locking diffs will get you across or over just about anything you point it at. There are 3 sizes of Defender to choose from, with a 3-door 90, a 5-door 110 and the long wheelbase 130. There are commercial versions too, and there's even a performance-focused V8 model.
The Defender lineup then is more diverse, its interior is nicer, and it'll go toe-to-toe with just about anything off-road. The Toyota though retains its USP, dependability. There's a reason the Land Cruiser has the reputation it does, and why wherever you go in the world there's always an old Land Cruiser working, moving and helping people. The new car is on sale now, with first deliveries scheduled for later this year. After the break, Kia goes up market with the all-new EV9 and a track-ready topless Porsche. Coming up, we test Kia's latest EV. First though, for decades now, the humble Boxster has been the entry point into Porsche ownership. It may only have a 4-cylinder engine and less than 300 horsepower. There are few cars that offer such usability and driving pleasure. Pay a little extra and you can even get a GTS model with 2 extra cylinders for even more top-down fun. Now though, Porsche has given us the sad news that the current 718 Boxster will be the final petrol-powered version, with an electric version arriving in 2025. So they've decided to send it off with a bang. This is the 718 Spyder RS, and while it may look largely like a Boxster, just about every single inch has been altered, fettled, modified and improved by Porsche's revered GT department. And they haven't given much thought to practicality or comfort. Like the regular Spyder on which it's based, the RS doesn't have a convenient electric roof like a normal Boxster. Instead, you get some sort of foldable bivouac that you have to get out of the car to erect manually, although this time it's even more basic in the name of weight saving. And they don't seem to have taken much care in preserving the Boxster's elegant design, with loads of aero bits stuck on to help it stick to the road. What this is then is a raw, unadulterated, out-and-out driving machine. Like the Cayman GT4 RS we saw last year, the Spyder RS gets a proper 911 engine behind the 2 seats, the same 4-litre flat 6 found in the GT3. It produces 493 brake horsepower, a big chunk more than you get in the standard Spyder, meaning the RS hits 62 from rest half a second faster in 3.4 seconds. This turn of speed is helped further by numerous lightweight carbon fibre bits, adding up to a 40-kilo weight saving. Unlike the regular Spyder, the RS isn't available with a manual gearbox. Instead, as with other RS models, you get a dual-clutch PDK paddle shift system. The The chassis has been thoroughly revised to further improve the Spyder's already excellent handling. The RS gets more of a track-focused setup, but the ride height and anti-roll bars are manually adjustable, so you can tweak them depending on how you plan to use it. As standard, the RS comes with steel brake discs, but for an extra £6,000, you can get some meaty carbon ceramics. And they're not even the most expensive option. That would be the Weissach package. Along with numerous bits of extra exposed carbon, some Weissach logos and some fancy exhaust pipes, this adds some super lightweight forged magnesium wheels which save a further 10 kilograms. It's all very nerdy, technical stuff, but typically Porsche has added some fun bits too. The new intakes, for example, have been mounted right behind the driver's ears for even more noise, and you can spec it with all kinds of motorsport-inspired stickers to help it stand out even further from your run-of-the-mill Boxster. If we're honest, we'll be sad to see the Boxster go electric, but this Spyder RS is one heck of a good buy. Best of all, unlike other GT department cars, its production won't be limited. It's on sale now from £123,000, and Porsche will build as many as they can sell.
If you're thinking of getting a big luxury 7-seater SUV, you'll likely look at some Mercs, Audis and Land Rovers. If you want an electric one though, the choices are a lot more limited. For now, in fact, there is just one option in showrooms and ready to go, and it's a Kia. We know the South Korean brand isn't really considered to be a luxury car maker. It's better known for affordable hatchbacks and crossovers, but we've already seen what it can do with an electric powertrain. The EV6 is a tour de force of tech and performance, with the GT model matching the Porsche Taycan for straight line speed at half the price. So then, can Kia continue its route upmarket with this, the all-new £65,000 EV9? Well, for starters, it looks brilliant. It's so rare for a production car to look like the concept, but the EV9 does. We love the boxy design and the uniquely distinctive headlights that seem to flow down the front of the car. The flat-looking body panels look ultra-modern in a blocky sort of way, and how cool are these chunky alloy wheels? It's a big car, very big in fact. At a smidge over 5 metres long, it's bigger than a Land Rover Discovery or Volvo XC90. But big car equals interior space, an area where the EV9 really shines. With the third row of seats in place, there's 333 litres of cargo space, but at the touch of a button, you can fold some or all of the seats down, leaving you with enough room to host a medium-sized gala dinner. It's worth noting that there's also a small amount of space under the bonnet, but at 52 litres, it's best left for charging gubbins and some emergency pork pies. If you don't need 7 seats and can make do with an even half dozen, Kia will also sell you a 6-seater with some party piece rotating back seats. In both versions, there's easily enough room to fill all the seats with adults, although 7 plus luggage might be a squeeze. The interior isn't quite on a level with a Range Rover, but it's comfortable and modern. There's plenty of recycled materials on show, all of which look and feel excellent, but there are 1 or 2 complaints. The screen displaying your climate controls is hidden behind the steering wheel, making it virtually impossible to adjust as you're driving. And the enormous B-pillars make shoulder checks a chore. These are small qualms though, especially as the excellent infotainment system and commanding driving position make driving a doddle. There are 2 powertrains to choose from, both using the same enormous 99.8 kWh battery. The entry-level rear-wheel drive model gets a modest 200 brake horsepower, which will get the 3.2-tonne Kia from 0 to 62 in 9.4 seconds. It's not the quickest car in the world, but it's the one to go for if you're after maximum range, with a WLTP figure of 349 miles. Our test car though was the full-fat all-wheel drive model, with a much healthier 380 horsepower. The range takes a hit to 313 miles, and in the close to freezing conditions on our test, that number was around 260. The performance though is fantastic. Plant your right foot and you'll be at the national speed limit in just over 5 seconds. Flick it into sport mode and you'll be barrelling along, riding a wave of torque and grinning like a buffoon. Come to a corner though and the car can't disguise its weight, and the light steering does little to invoke much confidence as the car leans from side to side. It feels big on the road too, so you do need to take care on narrow country lanes. It's not meant to be a sports car though, instead it's an excellent family bus. Prices start at a fiver under 65 grand for the two-wheel drive model, rising to £76,000 for a top-spec all-wheel drive car. Historically, that would have been a laughable price for a Kia, but with those prices in line with a comparable ICE car from Land Rover or Audi, the EV9 actually seems like remarkably good value. Kia still makes excellent, cheap and cheerful runabouts like the Picanto and the Ceed, but its latest electric products, the EV6 and EV9, prove there's more to this brand than you used to think.
Join us again next week on Auto Mundial as we take a look at the latest version of one of Britain's best-selling cars, the new 2024 Vauxhall Corsa.